Hi, guys. Welcome to another episode of Coco and the Sun podcast. It's been over a year since the last podcast, and a lot has happened over that year. I didn't know if I wanted to continue doing the podcast, so I didn't cancel it. I kept it there to see if anything would come or any situations would develop where I would be able to have conversations with other people. Um, or discussions. I always think of the podcast of it being with other people having a conversation, not just myself, because I I think it's weird to have a conversation with yourself on video. But nothing seems to be panning out that way, and I do feel still drawn to talk and share what I am experiencing or learning from in hopes that it can help someone else or even help me because maybe it resonates with someone else and they can help me along my journey or I can help someone else along their journey. So I guess it's a form of conversation, just not in the format I thought it would be. So again, my name is Ayana Malika Critchlow. I prefer to go by Malika, as that was the name I was called when I was little, and it's the name I most identify with. But I'm used to Ayana as well. It's my first name, and it's on all my um, job stuff and school stuff. People call me Ayana, and I'm used to it by now. So, whichever one you prefer, it's fine. But I personally prefer Malika. Um, I am originally of Trinidadian heritage, and I've been living in Miami for 20 plus years. And it's been quite the experience, um, growing and learning, becoming different versions of myself, expanding in my understanding of myself, expanding in um, the way that I love, my perceptions, and spiritually. So this podcast, I think, I'm going to focus on books uh, that really helped with changing my perceptions of a lot about life and the spiritual aspect or the esoteric aspect. So I'll expand on the books that helped, and maybe I'll be able to do separate podcasts on each book and what I learned from it, etc. But this one will just be like a list of the different books, and we'll go from there and see. So I apologize that I don't have anyone to talk with, but hopefully this is still helpful. Um, I apologize for saying a lot, so I'm not used to talking on a video camera by myself. What else do I want to share with you? Before we get into the books. So the reason why I got into the books or these books came to me was a few years ago. I'm a nurse, I'm a registered nurse, and I originally wanted to be a writer and author because I just love conversation. And I just feel like that's my passion. I like learning from people and talking from people and growing from people. I don't like conversation where it's a debate or it's aggressive. I think we can disagree, but still learn from each other or agree to disagree and be able to see different viewpoints. So I like those type of conversations, even if we don't see eye to eye. But I don't like the dominating conversations where people want to be right and say this is the only way and stuff like that. I'm not really open to that type of dialogue. But anyway, so I was a nurse and I still am a nurse. That's how I pay my bills. And I was working, let's see, I like nursing, but I was working in a hospital and I wasn't happy. I liked the team I worked with. I was working nights. I wasn't really happy working nights. Staffing wasn't always the best. And then like I didn't like that I had to ask permission for vacation and stuff like that. I felt really like restricted that way. And I felt like um my life wasn't my own essentially. I also had a young daughter at the time. She's a bit older now. And I wasn't present for a lot of her progressing as a little human because I was working nights. And so the days I was off, I was like zombie-like. I was present, she was safe, but like I wasn't really paying attention to what she was saying. I wasn't picking up on little things, and they need little refinements and they need to know that you're present and they need your attention and your thoughts and your opinions. And so I actually left the job without another job. Um, in tax, which is kind of insane to do. It was kind of, when I think about it, it's really insane to do with no safety net. So I did that and I was just like, gonna trust God to put me where I'm supposed to be. It was 6 months of not working, but I was like taken care of, didn't lose the house, um, and eventually ended up in a position in telemedicine nursing, which gave me the opportunity to work Monday to Friday, and to be more present with my daughter. And I found that if I had to do nursing, that telemedicine nursing was where I was happiest. So, but in the process of the 6 months, I think this is where my journey started because there was a lot of trusting and searching within myself for what makes me happy. Why aren't I happy? What makes I'm making enough money? Like, I can buy what I want, but I'm still not happy. So, the definition of happy definitely changed in that period because it wasn't just money and being able to pay the bills. I was like, okay, a schedule that I liked, a job that I enjoyed, friendships that were healthy and reciprocal, not just fitting what other people thought I should be. At that point too, I disconnected from a lot of people and family that had their own thoughts of what I should be, what I should be doing, how I should be communicating. Um, and yeah, so a lot of disconnection occurred there. But I needed it. I needed the space to just be with myself and figure out, okay, the noise is quiet now. Like, what do you want? So it was a really tough time, but also a really good time as well. And then, so during that period, I was looking into manifesting what you want out of life, right? And I got these YouTube videos by Abraham Hicks. And she was talking about, Esther Hicks was talking about, I don't know if you guys ever saw those videos, but anyway, Esther Hicks was talking about ways of, using your mind and your thoughts essentially to create the life that you want and to bring the things to you that you want for yourself. Um, for some people, it's financial stuff. Some people it's love. Some people it's friendships. Everybody has different wants. So I got into a lot of those videos. And I think that assisted me too with my thinking and my relationship with money and abundance. So I have not, just making it very clear, not solved the puzzle. But I feel like I have a better relationship with it, less desperate relationship, I would say, with it, right? A relationship where I'm not willing to sacrifice my quality of life for it, essentially, and trusting that I can bring somewhat, not exactly yet, but somewhat what I want into my reality. So I got into Abraham Hicks, which, if you know Abraham Hicks, she's channeling um uh, higher beings that have a higher perspective of what's going on here, and how to best use our feelings, emotions, and thoughts to live the life that we want to live. So that was I want to say an opening for me, because I grew up with, my father was Rastafarian and my mother was born again Christian. So like, going to church for like from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. on a Sunday, speaking in tongues. It's a lot of not being open to things like Abraham Hicks, right? Like if my mom knew, looking at these videos, she would probably call it something that's not good. There would be a lot of prayers that followed that. So that's not something that I would share with anyone at that time regularly that I was looking into. Anyway, so that was my first opening into looking at things in a different way, right? I can say that my whole life, before that, I never really felt connected in the church to God. Like it always felt like this God was really far off and unattainable. And I mean, they said he was real, but I didn't know if he was real in my life personally, right? I hadn't seen anything happen in my life for him to show up in any sense, right? So, and also like the way they describe him, like he was so nice and he was a provider, but also like he was a punisher. Like he had to follow these things. He had to, like, he didn't like you worshiping other gods. Like it's only his way, no other way. And then so just like on an intellectual level, it's like, okay, so they have people all over the world that don't have access to this, that don't know this, or what, they're gonna go to hell. Like it didn't make sense on a intellectual level for me. I think it can make sense for other people. And I feel like everybody has their own truth, and that truth is true for them. And so for me to say that that truth is not true for someone else wouldn't sit right with me, right? I believe that it could be true for someone else. This just wasn't clicking for me, and it wasn't true for me personally. So that kind of thing. And then like people in the church, they weren't really nice. Like they would say like mean things, like why? I remember going to Sunday school and they're like, oh, she thinks she's nice. Because she has like a nice dress. Well, first of all, I was a little kid. I didn't dress myself. So I could care less what I had on. My parents or my mom dressed me. I don't know if it was a good dress or a bad dress. I was just at church. So like all that type of stuff. Then we went, I think she sent us to a church camp once, and we had like basketball shirts on with the vest, and they were like, oh my God, the exaggerated armholes of the basketball shirts were like the end of the world. And so we didn't know it was wrong. So like for them to be like all up in arms about it was like kind of strange. I just never connected with it and how limiting it was in how you should look, how you should dress, how you should behave, how you should think. And we can go on the limits of, I would say, Orthodox Christianity. That's what you want to call it. But I always loved Jesus. Like I always felt like connected with Jesus. I always felt like someone that cared, or a lot closer than God felt, right? But still like didn't have too much interaction with if he was real. And oh no, let me backtrack that. I remember when my daughter was little and I didn't the microwave was gonna work, and I was like, Jesus, please, like I cannot, like this, like I can't afford a new microwave. And it went back on and it worked. I don't know if it was Jesus or not, but I can tell you that was my first inkling of that miracles can occur. It was the smallest thing, but I did ask Jesus to help, and the microwave worked after that. So I'm gonna take it as a sign that Jesus listens and he is there. But essentially, I didn't really like connect with what my mom was into. So Abraham Hicks to me worked resonated, right? And I was curious to find out more about the aspects of the universe that I didn't know about, different dimensions, and the laws of the universe that I didn't know that we could use to live the life that we wanted to live. The whole perspective was completely different. So anyway, I through Abraham Hicks was open to thinking in a more expanded way, I would say, right? Got a job in telemedicine, which I think is somehow connected to the way my thinking changed and it coming into my life in a way to kind of give me the kind of life or a better quality of life than I had before. So I got the job. I really liked it. The team was really good. We had good trainers. We had good doctors. Was there for like a bit. Then after a few years, the manager got like really weird. Like she was using approval of time off and stuff in a way to control. And I was like, oh. So left and went into another aspect of nursing, I think insurance and case management, stuff like that. Did that for a while, a contract, but was always well taken care of. Like even during the pandemic, I was on a contract then. While I was on a contract, found another job with another telemedicine company that I actually adored. And it was a better situation again. Working from home, beautiful team, beautiful management, getting to help patients the way I wanted. And just I found that I was just more relaxed in knowing what I wanted would come and it would come. Not in the extreme way, like I haven't won the lotto, which I still ask for. I still ask to not have to work at all, right? That's still on the list to just be able to do what I want to do all day. That hasn't come true yet. And it may have to do with me not believing it can happen, or it could be that it's not for my highest good that I won't learn what I'm supposed to learn here. I don't know what the reason is. But generally, I am provided for in a way that works well for me and gives me a quality of life that is decent, right? So worked there, and then last year around March, I still was having all I got was into the Abraham. I saw the Abraham Hicks stuff and stuff like that, and I felt like I had a job that was paying the bills. I love I have a little townhouse. I have a little townhouse, great relationship with my daughter that was expanding. The relationships that I had disconnected from was somewhat still disconnected, but I was making progress in at least having with the people that I valued still, even though I didn't want the same type of relationship with them, was able to maintain a good enough relationship with them where I was happy and they were happy, and I didn't have to conform to anything that they wanted me to be in order for us to have that relationship. So they were meeting me halfway and I was meeting them halfway. I think it was like two relationships that were really important to me. I was able to do that. So I was in a good space, right? I felt like I was progressing and stuff, but I still felt like there was questions that were still unanswered in terms of what wasn't happening in my life, like what wasn't manifesting that I wanted. One of them being love or a partner. And on Instagram, so I noticed like if I ask a question to the universe or to the angels or guides or God or creator, whatever you want to call what's out there, I would get an answer in a way that I could understand that I enjoyed getting the answer. I knew that much, and that it would come in something that I did every day, right? So it may have been an Instagram video, Instagram post, a YouTube video, YouTube, I'll just be like wondering something and all of a sudden this comes up. I'm trying to give an example of what? Can't think of an example now. But basically, whenever I have a question that I don't know, I would just say, I wonder what this blah 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 is, or what's the solution to this? And I would find an answer to what I was asking for. Some form of synchronicity. It could be synchronicity too. I could see the number 333, like, oh, I could be like worried about safety or something, and then I'll see 333, and I'll look up the meaning, and it will answer, you're protected by the angels, you don't have to worry. Or 222, or 111, or 777. I would just get those kind of synchronicities as well if I had like a question or something. So anyway, just randomly on Instagram, I came across a post from Dolores Cannon, who I had never heard of before. It was really weird because I've been on Instagram forever. I always see like Abraham Hicks stuff. I knew I was into Abraham Hicks, so I would see stuff. But I also see like angel readings or just a lot of poetry. I love poetry. So a lot of poetry and about loving yourself, or just if you're not happy, that's okay, or stuff like that. I always, see stuff like that. But Dolores Cannon I had never heard of. So in March of 2023, a video, Dolores Cannon comes up. It's like one of those little reels, and I think she's talking about the volunteers that are coming in for the New Earth. Never heard of the New Earth. I was like, but the stuff that she was saying with the type of volunteers, when she talked about the second type of volunteers that came in and the personality that she was describing, I was like, that sounds very familiar. They generally work at home. They have small circles. They love people, but they don't really love how people behave. So they've been hurt before and they kind of try to keep to themselves, that type of thing. And I was like, that sounds very familiar. So got more curious about Dolores Cannon and started like researching her and like Googling her, putting her in the Instagram search for more videos. And the more videos I found, the more interested I was about this. And then, looked at YouTube videos about her, where she would give lectures for like an hour and a half or so talking about the method that she developed and how she got this information, which was really cool. So she was a hypnotist, and she was able, after like decades, to figure out there's access that she had access to an aspect of consciousness that seemed to be universal consciousness, if you will, that you can ask anybody the same question when they were in this conscious frame of mind through hypnosis, and the answers would essentially be the same. So it seemed to be like universal answers. And she essentially developed this while she was developing healing for people, right? So she did hypnosis to help people with healing, whether it was trauma or physical healing. They had like a physical disease, they didn't know why it manifested. And so she would use hypnosis to find out what it was, what caused it, why it was there, and how to heal it. So her priority was healing. And in doing that healing, she discovered this aspect of consciousness that seemed to always, no matter who it was, had the same answers for general questions. General questions, what I mean, like, what happens when we die? The dimensions in the universe? Why are we here? What's Earth? What's the soul? Questions about Jesus, questions about aliens, like it explained like a lot of stuff. So the more videos I looked, like the more interested I was in this. So then I was like, okay, so I think she died in 2014, but she had developed this process of hypnosis, and I was really interested in having it done to see if there's anything about myself I could learn that I didn't know that could improve my life. It helped me understand aspects of myself like I didn't fully understand and stuff like that. So her process is called QHHT hypnosis. I forget what it means, something with quantum. Anyway, she had trained people to do this before she died. And so I think there's schools to learn how to do this. Just Googled it and found a practitioner that was 40 minutes from me. Her name is Gladys, I think Gladys Bermudez. And in March, I scheduled an appointment to go do this. I was scared out of my wits. Like I didn't tell anybody, but I was like scared because I was like, okay, this is an aspect of my consciousness that I'm going to be going into that I hadn't gone into before. I've never done hypnosis before. I'd never been even interested in hypnosis or even thought that it worked. But I didn't want to try because I wanted to find out more about myself. You know, you can find out past lives, you can find out why you are the way you are, why you feel the way you feel, stuff like that. So went to this appointment scared, because you know, this is somebody you don't know too. You don't know if they're gonna do like say stuff or whatever. It was really scared, but I trusted that I was being led to this, right? I had enough interaction with the universe or God or angels to know that things just don't happen by accident, and my want to do something is a sign that I kind of should do it. Like I still wanted to do it. Like I didn't, the fear of doing it was nothing compared to the thought of not doing it. Like I could not do it. Like I had to find out. Like I was too curious. So went to the lady in the sweetest, kindest, I mean, she looked like a nun, right? Totally felt safe with her and did this QHHT hypnosis. 4 hours I was under this thing. And the whole time I felt present, but I was talking, but an aspect of myself that I had never spoken to was talking. So it felt like me responding to her questions, but it also felt like me listening. I was saying stuff that I couldn't possibly have known, right? But was really clear about it. So before you go, you know, she tells you stuff to say, you know, to ask to be connected with your guide so you can get your answers, and for God, I forget what it was, but she sends you a preparation so you're ready for it. And then she asks, like, if you have questions that you want to ask, you can have like 15 questions of stuff you want healing for, and then 15 questions of stuff that you want answers for, just general answers. So I did those questions and I got like literally all my questions answered as to why my life was the way it was, why the childhood I had was the type of childhood I had, the experiences I had, why I had them, past lives, future. I think I got one past life and one future life. Found out more about myself, to why I feel the way I feel, why I think the way I think. It was really, really good. I really was under for 4 hours. It did not feel like 4 hours until I came out of it. And then she was like, you under 4.5 hours. So it was really, really a good experience. And from that experience, everything lightened. And after that, gradually, there seemed to be changes in perception in almost anything I felt heavy about. I would get a different aspect of it, a different way to look at it. And my love for myself and how I viewed people, how people loved or showed love, completely like changed. I wouldn't say overnight, but generally starting from there. So from that hypnosis, I understood myself a lot better. And that felt lighter initially, right? And it clarified so many things. But like after the hypnosis, through the next months to come, it helped clear so many. To me, it started the real journey. So after hypnosis, things just started coming into my field, like books that I would have not even thought of. I don't even know how they got in my algorithm on YouTube or whatever, but it was only after the hypnosis. And those books helped clarify so many things. Not everything resonated with them, like things that don't resonate, I don't force. It could be that it's just not for me for this lifetime, or it could be that I'm not there yet and I will be there eventually, or it could be fake. I have no idea. But definitely a lot of things resonated. And I just wanted to share some of those books or Audible or videos and see if it could help anyone else if they have a lot of questions, help find those questions or better understanding of this life, because it really did help me. So the first book that came across my field was, I believe it's called The Green or the Emerald Tablets of Thoth. I think that's what it's called. Really strange book. That would have never been on my radar. Egyptian things, though I find it curious, it's usually so complicated, the history. That it wouldn't hold my attention for very long. Like I could watch a video or a documentary or something, but to read a book on it, no. Anyways, I think it's the Emerald Tablets of Thoth. That came across YouTube as I think it's like voiced on YouTube. So I didn't have to read it. I just had to play the video. The video was like 2 to 3 hours long. And it was just very like interesting. It starts off with him describing who he is and what he contributed to civilization and like how the world kind of operates. And he really stresses searching within, right? The inner yourself. Yeah, it all starts with yourself. So after that, I think I got into the Gospel of Mary Magdalene, the Gospel of Philip, the Gospel of, let me see. Let me see if I find books. I had it in my the books first. Okay. The Emerald Tablets of Thoth, the Gospel of Mary Magdalene, the Book of Thomas, the Gospel of Philip. I looked up the Magnum Opus. I looked up the 7 Stages of Alchemy, the Hathor Material by Tom Kenyon, the Magdalene Manuscript by Tom Kenyon. All these things came into my field of interest. I never heard of them before. They would just somehow grasp my attention, whether on YouTube or Instagram, no idea. But they would just come and after I finished with one, some other form of topic would interest me and I would go down a rabbit hole and read and or listen to the audibles. Because these days with the glasses, I have to wear glasses now, y'all, and it's not always the easiest. So audibles work for me a lot. Sacred geometry is another thing that caught my attention. The Magdalene Manuscript by Tom Kenyon, Castaneda books, The Law of One Sessions and books. They Walked with Jesus by Dolores Canyon, which is, the book is based off of her speaking to people that she regressed in past life regression that knew of Jesus at the time, but like they didn't know he was Jesus. They didn't even know they had this past life. And when this past life is talking about what happened in its life, I'm not sure they know even at that time, because it's talking in the time of that time, like that he is Jesus. I think they call him Yeshua or the Nazarene. And some of them don't know if he is what that great. And then they actually hear him speak and they're like, oh my God, like it's really cool to hear it. So I found that book really interesting. They Walked with Jesus by Dolores Cannon, Jesus and the Essenes by Dolores Cannon, The Sophia Code by Kaya Ra. So this one, okay, we'll talk about that after. The Sophia Code, Mary Magdalene Revealed, The Jesus Story by Edgar Cayce. Edgar Cayce was another channel that was able to, I think, predict future events and stuff in the 40s or the 50s. And there are some sessions where he's asked about Jesus and he kind of gives a lineage for Jesus, which was a bit surprising. I don't know. I don't know if I want to go into that, but check out the book if you're interested. The Jesus Story by Edgar Cayce, The Thunder of Perfect Mind, and the last book for Audible, Bringers of the Dawn. Bringers of the Dawn is pretty interesting. It was really interesting. Still digesting it and figuring out what aspects of it resonate and what doesn't. But it was mind-opening. Okay. So I'll go back to the Sophia Code. The Sophia Code is about the divine feminine aspect and that aspect, I think, of God, the divine, the divine feminine. If you know, the divine feminine has been really left out of religion and it's male oriented, but I mean, we are male, female, not gender wise, but energy wise. So we definitely have divine feminine aspects that's being left out. And as a society, it's leaning us not in a balanced way. So we do have to bring the divine feminine into the story in order to balance and get us where we need to be, I think. Right. The thing with the Sophia Code is I think the author has some issues with this online with her telling the truth. They are saying that, she said some untrue things about her life story. That doesn't mean that the book is wrong or what she channeled is incorrect. But if your integrity is questionable, then, the book could be questionable. So I read it with a grain of salt. And there was some things that seemed I want to say TV-ish, but didn't feel authentic. But there were some things that I found interesting. She has initiations as well at the end of each chapter. So if you want to ask these divine feminine beings to assist in your evolution and growth, you can. I didn't do the initiations only because I kind of like learning and growing on my own, and I don't want to follow someone else's script or ritual for learning about myself and learning about light beings or angels or gods and goddesses. I kind of like learning things on my own. And if I want something or access or to learn something, like I said, I like asking the universe or God or Jesus or whoever, the angels or the guides, and for them to bring it to me that in a way that's best for me. Because everybody's different and everybody enjoys things in a different way. So I personally prefer that route. This isn't like, a self-discovery. It's like a self-discovery for myself, how they reveal things to me. And I like that whole journey and those lessons and how it's taught to me and how it comes to me. And so I don't really want to follow someone else's way of getting there. But I think it is helpful to someone who reads the book, who believes what she's saying and feels comfortable enough to do whatever initiations that she offers. For it to probably work for them. I don't know. I can't tell you if it works or not because I didn't do it. And probably wouldn't do something that with somebody's integrity that's not for sure. So I didn't do that. But I think the book was really interesting. And I think the message about divine feminine aspect of God is really imperative to where we are now and where we need to go in order for society to be in a better spot, right? The mother aspect is missing. We have the father aspect. We don't have the mother aspect. So I think the book is good in that way. So I said like sacred geometry also intrigued me. Solfeggio frequencies, music with solfeggio frequencies also intrigued me. So I did a lot of research on that in case you guys want to look at that. And also like I looked up the Rosicrucians. I think they're the ones that focus on the magnum opus and alchemy. So I did a lot of like Google searches and YouTube searches on it because I found the topic quite interesting. And I just wanted to share those things with you. That helped me get a better understanding of what I think's going on. I know I still don't have a full understanding. But I do think I'm in a better place. All these things helped in learning to trust and surrender and synchronicities and, listening to where I'm supposed to be, listening to my heart, and knowing what's for me and what's not for me. So these things kind of help with all of that, help with my inner growth, going inside, wanting to know more about myself, my aspects. And I would say like since not just the books of interest, like a lot of things like I'm more sensitive to, foods that I used to like to eat, I don't like to eat anymore. Things I used to like to watch, I don't like to watch anymore. TV shows, stuff like that. Music, I say listen to it, don't listen to the same types of music anymore. And it's not that they're bad or anything. It's just I just feel like I am more attuned to how these things affect me, affect my body, affect my mentals, affect my emotions. And I kind of know I'm sensitive now to enough to know like what I like and what I don't like. So I'm not as dismissive with things I'm feeding myself, whether it's music, movies, TV shows, food, how I spend my day. Like I have to go for a walk every day. Like I have to be in nature once a day. Like I have to walk amongst the trees and smell the fresh air. These are things I couldn't care about. I couldn't care about before, you know. And sleep is very important, like making sure I get enough sleep and stuff like that. And just being sensitive to my moods and my energies and why do I feel this way? And this is not how I normally feel. And so what's triggering this? And why am I thinking about this? This doesn't feel good to think about. Why is this here? And finding out like, stuff I forgot about that happened years ago, things that happened that may have hurt my feelings or caused me to be sad or angry or upset were coming up different days and different times. But they were coming up and I was like, why is this happening now? And would just ask for an understanding of why am I remembering these things? And then I would know that I would get a video that says, we're clearing energies now. We're lightening stuff. Density is lightening. And this is a good thing. You are progressing. So a lot of things came up and I learned how to clear, how to forgive, how to see things from different aspects, how to see love from different aspects. I mean, it's been a really nice process. Rough sometimes, but really good process since March. And all started with that hypnosis and then these books, these topics of interest. So I hope these things help. I don't know if anyone's going through these things as well, but I hope these things help. And if anyone wants to further the discussion, I'm open to hearing what you guys want to talk about, and seeing if we can put that together or if I can look up stuff. I think maybe we can probably take each book by itself and talk about it. A Course in Miracles I haven't finished. I think I did just chapter 1 to chapter. That's a really heavy book. It's a lot of chapters and there's a lot of information there. I think I got from chapter 1 to chapter 9, listen to it on YouTube, but I think it's 9, I have 9 and 15, and then I think 15 to 32 to listen to. So I haven't gotten there yet. But all the others I think I've finished completely, so I kind of have an idea of how I felt about it. If there's anybody that wants to come on and talk about it with me, I don't have any of the answers, or I just know like what works for me and what my truth is or what resonates with me. And my truth evolves. It's not the same every single day. As you learn something new, another aspect is added, another layer is added. And but I just want to have this dialogue and hope to help other people with it. I don't do the light language stuff. I don't have channeled messages like a lot of people do, which I find helpful. I do look at those channels sometimes to see if anything resonates and can help me. But yeah, I don't have that gift. But I do have other gifts I think that are coming in. Like I would say, like I'm more sensitive to myself and what I like and what's good for me, which is new. Like I didn't even know I wasn't paying attention to these things. So that's all for today. I did a video too. I thought maybe the video might be interesting to some of you. I don't know. So we'll see. So this is the first episode for the year from Coco in the Sun podcast. Hopefully I'll have some more. Hopefully I'll have some guests. Also feel like I'm supposed to do this by myself initially because I like to work in teams or with people. And that might be an aspect of codependence that I need to conquer or work through. So it probably is an exercise in doing or following my heart and not waiting for someone. This could be doing that. So I hope that besides teaching me to do what I feel called to do, regardless of if anyone is there, I hope this also helps someone and, reaches them in the love and intention with which I have done it. Anyways, wishing you guys the best life you can possibly have, the highest timeline for yourself. I'll talk to you guys next podcast. Have a great day.